אלוקים, ברוח קדשך תיקח ממני, אל תשליכנו מלפניך, ברוח קדשך תיקח ממני. So this week is Parshas Vigash. Parshas Vigash is a lot of two worlds are colliding. We have the world from Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. This is where Yehuda and Yosef Atzadik are, facing each other face to face without knowing. Yehuda is not knowing what's going on, that who is standing in front. But since Yehuda has bittul, so he's able to follow the process to the end, until the end where he realizes that he needs to avdach arav esanar. He took responsibility for Binyamin going into goals, which means they were all into goals, and Yehuda was the one that said that he's the one that's going to be responsible, make sure that every single person is coming back home. Every single person. But Yehuda is the one that said that he's going to make sure that this happens. And David HaMelech and all that, the whole process. But so what happens is that Yehuda has bittul. He's malchus, he has bittul. And because he has bittul, he's able to follow the process to the end, which means that he can find his essence and his truth. And once you find your essence and your truth, then you're basically, like we said, then that's the confidence, that's the netzach, that's the victory, because you're unstoppable, because you're in your truth. And once you find your truth, then you're able to be who you need to be, no matter what the conditions look like on the outside. And Yosef needs that. He needs that. He knows that going into Mitzrayim, this was his dream, and he understands that that's how the Gillah is going to happen. But he understands that he needs Yehuda. Without Yehuda, it's not going to go. So he pushes him to the edge. He challenges him. First, Yehuda goes through a process of thinking that he's being punished for something, thinking that because they sold their brother, and because this, that, and the other, that's why they're being punished. And after, they go through the process, they're makabel, and after they realize that it's not, Yehuda realizes that it's nothing to do with Yosef Atzadik, because Binyamin is the one that is accused of stealing the becher, and Binyamin is being taken as a hostage, as a slave, and Binyamin wasn't by the Mechiras Yosef. So he understood from that, he judged from that we're dealing with something else over here. What is it that we're dealing with? So again, he understood that Binyamin is not the one that. He understood they're not being punished for anything that they did, because Binyamin wasn't there. So he's like, what does this guy want? So now he comes in, he says, Vigash Yehuda, and now he gets really tough, and he steps into himself. And that's exactly what Yosef wants. He wants Yehuda to step into himself. He wants Yehuda to show himself in Mitzrayim. Yehuda would never do that. He would never expose himself like this in Mitzrayim. He wanted to expose himself in Eretz Yisrael, in these fields, and he's like, we're not mingling, I'm not mixing, I'm not acknowledging my external, that the egos and my challenges, my judgments and my pains, my traumas and my dramas. I'm completely going into, we're going to deal with we're shepherds, we're dealing with the sheep, and that's as far as we go. But now that he realizes that what's happening is that Yosef is pushing him and is challenging him. What is he challenging him? He's accusing him. He's accusing him that he stole. And they're like, stealing is not even, like, really? You want me to lower myself to your level? To go, you're accusing me that we stole a bechel? You know who we are? Like, we're kings and princes, and we're like, what are you even talking about? And that really starts digging in at him. And now he's forced to, so Yosef is pushing to the limit, and Yehuda is forced to actually to show him like who's the boss. And what happened is that at some point Yosef steps on Yehuda's toe, so to speak, and Yehuda gives one shout, "Vakol nishma beis Paroi." They heard the voice in the house of Paroi, and it says "Koil is Koil Yehuda." That's Koil. So Yehuda gave Mashrai. He gave one shagasei, and what happened is that everything is a rhythm. Everything is a beat. If you change your beat, you're changing the picture. For instance, that if somebody's sad, you're walking like that. I can't walk like this if I'm sad. It's just then I'm get out of the sadness. So therefore, I need to stay like this. When you dress up, you go to a wedding, you're carrying yourself. A woman dresses up, she carries herself. This is this is how they walk. Now I'm in this mode. I'm in this space. I'm in the zone. So Yehuda, the brothers, they have a beat. They're in isolation. They're doing what they have to do. They're working with the lower worlds and the upper worlds, and they're creating. They're moving. Yosef wants to get into Mitzrayim. He knows that the only way to get this done is to go through. We have to go through Ben Yuman. We have to go through the whole process of dealing with my challenges, dealing with my darkness, dealing with my shadows, and bringing tikkun and bitter to that place. That's why they wanted to kill him. They didn't believe in that system. So now they're being accused. So now he's being stopped in his tracks. He needs to think, like, really? We don't steal. So he goes through the, knappen, getroffen, namich, and at some point, Zetras, first also Yosef is playing with their emotions. He takes them into the house. He takes care of them. So he knew also that they're very confident. So maybe the king, he saw something in us. So he took us into the house and he's taking care of us. So he played with their emotions. He kind of like pushed and shoved. So they kind of like fell for it. They believed it because we are kings, and he treated them, and so they didn't ask any questions. It was kind of like in the back of the head, but it didn't really, once they ate together, it's like, okay. But now I started realizing that this guy is just being vicious. He's just torturing him, and he's trying to take him out from his beat. He's trying to take him out from his dvekas, from his space, from his center. Because if he takes him out from that center, then he changes his beat. If he changes his beat, then the image is going to change. Because we are the image that we are beating to. The way I walk, that's what I see. The way I show up, the way I go to the gym, I lift, I have to hold myself up, right? Prepare myself for that position. So he wants to take him out, and Yehuda is like, Yehuda is like, no way. There's no, if I didn't have Binyamin on the line over here, then I would, I wouldn't use my weapons yet. But in this case, I'm tied to the end. I have to bring home this kid. I have to go to the end. So we can go on and on with this. Why Yaakov took Yehuda's Arevus and not Rivim, because Yaakov knew that Yehuda is without Yehuda there's nothing. So he was confident that if Yehuda goes to the end, if it's on his skin, then he'll go. Then he was confident he's going to bring it back. Nobody can stand in his way. Yud Kei Vav Kei. So he pushes Yehuda to the point where Yehuda has no choice, and he goes all the way. And he changed the whole reality in Mitzrayim. Changed where you had the 70 Geburim, the strong warriors that were standing protecting Yosef. Their teeth fell out. Pregnant women lost their babies, and heads turned around the other way. And in the world of Ruach, there is a voice, because the ganze Mitzrayim is a klippah. It's all an illusion that's being fed by klippahs. It's being fed by low vibration, which is, Adva Sa'ara. There's a lot of stuff happening there. They wear the way they have their spiel, and that's what's holding that. We have our spiel. That's what's holding our vibration, our image. They have theirs. So he gives a idol worship, whatever it is. He gives a shout, and Sivet, for a second, it changes. The whole screen goes like there's like lights out, like there's a flash. And that's exactly what Yosef wants. He wants to weaken. He knows that we're here to stay. This is the way. It's his dream, and he knows that. He knows that he's got it right, and his father gave him. Yosef is the connection. So he weakened the whole thing. In other words, he basically they went to the core, the two, Yosef and Yehuda, and he gets Yehuda to the point where he just goes nuclear in Mitzrayim, which means that the whole thing changed. Like imagine it clears up in front of your head and you're just able to see. Like when you breathe or whatever it is that you're doing, you're going into a process and you see it. So that's what's happening this week, which means that it's happening. That's the vibration right now, where our whole reality, our whole weight, our whole the squeeze and the meitzar and the fears, the anxieties, it's all being exposed, because there is where Yehuda does this, clears the air, and this is the yichud from Yehuda and Yosef. Another point of what the Torah is pointing out is that I think this happened last week, that when Yosef wanted to take Shimon into to lock him up, he told his guys the guards to take him, and the Medrash says that Shimon said, "Nobody's coming here. Anybody that comes is is, it's not happening. So they tried, and he gave one scream, and they just fell down. Okay, Medrash says this. Then somebody walks up to him, it's Menashe, and he gives him a tap on the shoulder, and Shimon says that this guy is from ours. He's one of ours. So they translated that, and Yosef said, "What do you think? Only you guys have this power? We also have power." So that kind of like also shook up the brothers. Because they understood that Yud Kei Vav Kei is the ultimate truth, and it were kind of like it was messing with them. But at the end of the day, Shimon was right, because to have that level of what he experienced and that level of presence that gave him a shock of kind of like a reality check. He knew that only if you're fully confident with yourself, you can only be that confident with yourself, that certain that if you're connected to Yud Kei Vav Kei. So at the end of the day, they were right. So what we understand from this is that we're here in Galus and we're going through. Galus means that let's simplify it. Let's not look at it like we're coming from Bavel into America. Galus is our regular day-to-day struggles, or knowingly or not knowingly. That's our stuff. That's our spiel. That we're that's our Galus. That we're wrapped in this choshev, wrapped in this stuff that's blocking our vision that we can't really see. So this is another point that what we to understand what we have. If we go into ourself, if you go into a reality check and you put everything aside, all the work and everything that we're doing, ultimately it's the power within. It's the power, it's the voice, the call from inside. There's nishma beis para. It removes the, it makes the illusion more showing up. You can see that for what it is. And once you see it for what it is, then it falls apart. The whole thing falls apart. So, fine, so that is what's happening this week in the Parsha, which is very strong stuff. Fine, it's trying to the beat. So it's all in the rhythm. It's all in the beat. That's why when we breathe, we go out, we change the rhythm. That's why the scenery changes, right? So really, what you need to do is we need to change the way, one little thing, one way of how I constantly beat, and I change one thing. Like if I have a thing here that I need to do, or this that I don't, that I'm lazy about, or a certain way that I walk, or a certain way that I what I believe about myself, and I let go of, I change that beat and I change the walk. That's what's encouraged to work out, because you're raising, you're moving, so you're changing, you're getting yourself out of your status quo. You're getting yourself out. You're kind of like tricking yourself, because you have to let go. You're walking fast, or you're working out, and you're breathing heavier, and you're raising the heartbeat, and that raises the beat. It raises so now you're in a different space, and that's why you feel amazing after a good workout. You feel good. We just need to learn how to integrate with that, go deeper with it. So together, also another piece from Likutei Halachos and Hilchos Shabbos. Let me just make sure I covered everything on the Yehuda Viegsh thing. I think I did. This comes from Sefer Likutei from the Arizal on this week's parsha, where he talks about it. He gives that image. Okay, so here we're talking Likutei Halachos, Hilchos Techum, and Shabbos. How much you can walk? On Shabbos you can only walk Apayim Ama, and then you can't go to. There's no fast pacing. You have to go be very, very, just be present. Why? Because everything has a beat. Shabbos, the whole week, and the language he uses is very strong. He says that on Shabbos it says Shvi Shtachtev, every person should sit. Shvi Shtachtev, sit where you are. Don't leave your space. Don't get out of your presence. All the roads and the paths that were taken on the Sheshes Mechal on the 6 weekdays is only to be Mavara Birurim. So look at the way he looks at it, how he changes the perspective and how we see our day to day. It's a tunnel. You're walking through a tzina, you're walking through a pipe. Anything that takes place, you're walking through a pipe. And the whole process is that we should bring our presence, our our Yehuda, our certainty, the confidence, to bring it wherever we are, wherever you stand. Just bring the presence of what this is. That you understand that you're only. It's not who you are. Who I am is my nekuda, my dat, my chachmas tema, which opened up over Hanukkah. So that's why Shabbos. So this is the beat of the week. The week we hustle, we move, everybody does their avodah, does their work. Shabbos, it's the beat is going into the piece, and that's why he's talking about going to a tzaddik on Shabbos, because the tzaddik is in Shabbos, and even during the week is in Shabbos. So when you're in his makav, his energy field is a Shabbos energy field. That's why from there alone you get we get just we get the it changes the that in itself can be a relief of wherever you are stuck in a Metzir over the week. So so that's what I wanted to point out over here. Shabbos is in of tshuva. So tshuva is that we're so what he's saying over here is also that all the drachim is b'zul asakim begam ha'amuna shenivgam al de'avanis. Every direction that you're going is whatever you're experiencing during the week is because to bring back to be masakin begam ha'amuna. Because every time we do something in a low vibration, like an aveir, but let's call it for what it is. It's a low vibration. Because an aveir, it's kind of like doesn't really talk to me, but low vibration I understand, and I want to be in a high vibration. So, but what does it really affect? The core of it is pagam amuna. Is because if I do something, I'm now going into separation. So I'm losing focus on that I am being carried because I have amunah. So I'm just being carried where I need to be, and I shouldn't worry about anything. But because my lens, the sensors got fogged up now. Therefore, I have to now I have to now clean it. That's why I'm blocked. I don't see it. All the mitzvahs are emunah, and therefore, and that's why we have to do tshuva. And Shabbos is pagam emunah, which means that Shabbos we're immersing ourselves, we're dipping ourselves in a pool, in a water, in a mikveh, a womb of emunah. So, emunah gives us. It lets us relax because it gives us humility. So I know that it's, you just let go. And Shabbos, that is the work on Shabbos. You don't have to worry about it because nothing is chasing you on Shabbos. Everything is stopped on Shabbos. That's the rule. Shabbos happens regardless of if we do it or not. It's just that if we tap into it, we're in it. We take a seat and we're in that spaceship. Otherwise, you're not. So that's what it is for Shabbos. So we should all have a Shabbos of tshuva. So tshuva is where all these, I said you immerse yourself, but all these low vibrations, the voids, the yin yang, and the male and the female relationship with every time there's pagam, so something else comes and takes up that space. So it becomes a whole a struggle. Shabbos, it balances out. Shabbos balances out, and that's what the Shabbos in Eiliv. So have an awesome Shabbos. And Vigash Eiliv Yehuda, find your voice, find your screen, find your certainty, and don't be afraid, because the fear is just a stiff arm to where you need to go to find the Kalpara. It's not doesn't have anything else besides just being afraid of going there. It doesn't have a reason for it. But you need to push through, just pushing it until you're able to be with your in your tshuva, with your emunah, with your kol Yehuda, Yizkei Vavkei. Shabbos.